Hello, this is Rick Fraser with the Cawson Center for Teaching and Learning, and in this tutorial video I'm going to cover a little more in depth Smart Ink. We're also going to cover some of the settings in Smart Ink to help you use the program better. By default on your Smart Sympodium, the left mouse click button is enabled. Remember to look at the top of your Smart Sympodium to see what button is highlighted so you'll know what tool that you're using. As I press each button, I can see that function enabled on the Smart Sympodium. The Smart Ink toolbar is not on your desktop until you press one of the annotate buttons at the top of the Smart Sympodium. So when I press the blue annotate button, I can see the Smart toolbar appear at the bottom right corner of my screen. If I don't like where it's positioned, I can easily use my pen and drag it to another location on the screen. I can immediately begin writing Smart Notes on my desktop, and whenever I want to remove one of those notes, just click the X at the top left corner of the screen. I can also write on top of web pages. For example, I've got a Firefox page open right now to Stonehenge. If I want to begin annotating on top of this page, I can do so. The way the Smart Ink works is it creates an overlay on top of any document that you've got open. And whenever we move any of these documents around on the screen, the overlay follows the document as well. Whenever I minimize a document, the overlay is minimized with it. Whenever I bring the document back up, the overlay is brought back up with it as well. This not only works with websites, it also works with images as well. So if I have the image viewer open on my computer, then I can begin annotating on top of this image as well. Keep in mind, the annotations that you are creating are not part of the image. They are simply an overlay, so they do not edit the image in any way. If I would like to close this image, I can click the X at the top right corner, and the overlay and annotations disappear along with it. I can also change the functions of Smart Ink. For example, let's go back to our Stonehenge page. If there are areas that I want to annotate on in different colors, for example, simply enable the annotation feature again. The Smart Ink toolbar appears. Clicking on the Smart Ink toolbar will bring up the Smart Ink toolbar settings. At the very top right corner of the Smart Ink toolbar, you're going to see a pen. If I want to pin the Smart Ink toolbar to permanently stay on the screen, then I click the pen one time at the top right corner. That's going to allow the Smart Ink toolbar to stay on your desktop permanently. It can get in the way. If you don't want it pinned and in your way, then simply unpin the Smart Ink toolbar, and you will see the Smart Ink toolbar disappears and goes down simply to show the color that you're using and the tool. Going back to the Smart Ink tool settings, I'm going to go ahead and pin my toolbar so we can cover some of the settings a little more. By default, the type of pen that is activated is going to be just the regular writing pen. If I want to use the highlighter feature on the Smart Sympodium, I simply press the highlighter icon. You're going to have to click it about 3 times for it to stay on some of the older hardware on campus. It can be a little tricky, but just take some practice with it. If I want to quickly go back to black, blue, red, or green ink on the Smart Sympodium, simply click the button at the top of the Sympodium, and that'll take you to the color that you want to use. If you don't see a color listed in the Smart Ink settings, click on the Color Palette button. This will bring a color wheel that you can add to favorites. The next time you begin annotating, that color will be chosen. You can also choose the thickness of the line that you want to annotate with. The Smart Ink toolbar also allows you to choose different line settings. You can choose the type of line that the pen will create, as well as beginning and ending points on the line. After making all of your settings, you can still keep the Smart Ink toolbar pinned and visible. However, if you click at the top right corner of the spin wheel, you can see that you can hide the Smart Ink toolbar. The next time you click the Smart Ink toolbar settings, however, you can see that your Smart Ink toolbar settings pin is still selected and the Smart Ink toolbar will not disappear. That concludes the tutorial on Smart Ink, how it works with the Smart Sympodium buttons and pen, and also the Smart Ink toolbar settings. If you have any questions, be sure to contact us.